what are the behaviors that can help the communication in my relationship? We have already talked about the 4 toxic behaviors that harm our relationships. And you can find it in the previous video. I'm going to put the link in the description. But also, I'm going to refresh your memory. And I'm going to mention these 4 toxic behaviors that harm our relationships very shortly. Hi, I'm Vasi Sarandopoulou, your relationship therapist, and I'm here to support you in building more connection, more intimacy, more trust, and more love in your relationship. The first one, as we said, it's criticism. And we mentioned before that criticism means that we are attacking the personality, the character, or the past of our partner, or something that they have shared with us in vulnerability. We are not addressing the behavior, but we are addressing the personality, and that's a big difference. The second behavior is contempt. This is when you are trying to belittle, to insult your partner, and we treat them from a position of superiority. The third behavior is defensiveness, and this is when we are trying to reverse the blame. And we see everything that our partner is doing or saying as an attack. The fourth behavior is called stonewalling, and this is when we withdraw in order to avoid conflict. We create more distance, we shut down, we end the communication, we cut down any communication bridges with our partner. Now let's see how we can reverse that. And let's see the 4 antidote behaviors that can actually help our relationships. According to Gottman, the antidote to criticism is called gentle startup. What do we mean with gentle startup? Instead of saying you did that, which of course indicates blame and accusation of your partner and throwing the responsibilities on them, you talk about how you feel using the word I, or even better, you talk about something you have in common in that moment of conflict by using we. To give you an example, instead of saying, you always forget my birthday, or you're always selfish, instead of that, you're saying, I feel hurt when you forget my birthday. Or when you're having a fight, you can say, actually, honey, we're not doing a good job here we're not doing a good job of resolving that conflict. So I think it's better if we take a break. In this case, you're still communicating with your partner, but without accusing them, without criticizing them. Criticizing them is most probably going to bring another attack back at you, and therefore disconnection. Remember, our main goal when we're communicating, even when we're fighting, is connection. Now, if you notice, I use the word I feel. You can say how you feel to your partner, but be mindful of how you use these words. I feel needs to convey a feeling, an emotion that you're experiencing, not an opinion. So I feel you're wrong is not a feeling, it's an opinion. I feel you're stupid, it's not a feeling, it's an opinion. So I feel needs to be followed by an emotional experience that you're having. All right? Now, the second antidote, the antidote to contempt. As we said, contempt is a behavior of superiority. You see your partner as somebody who is probable to make a mistake, who is typical of failing you every time. This, of course, creates the feeling of shame in them, and it makes the chances of them withdrawing higher. But you don't want that, right? So instead of that, we want to build a culture of appreciation and respect and humility in our relationship. So instead of using sarcasm or rolling your eyes, you are actually admitting to your partner that you also make mistakes sometimes, or that you appreciate their effort, or that you see that they have tried so far, even though right now it's not working perfectly well. To give you an example, it's one thing to say, you never try for our relationship, and it's another thing to say, well, I know that you try for our relationship, and I have seen all the things that you have done for us. However, now I'm hurt by the lack of effort or by your behavior. Humility is when you connect with your partner by sharing vulnerability with them, by admitting that you're also a human being that makes mistakes. In that way, you're connecting with them in the same equal level. You're not better than them, and they're not worse than you. What can help you in bringing more appreciation in your relationship is if you can see small things, small efforts, small changes that you see happening in your relationship. Usually we expect miracles or fireworks so that we can appreciate our partner, but that can be very demotivating for them and discouraging for you. Gottman says that the magic ratio of positive to negative interactions is 5 to 1, which means that for every negative interaction, we need 5 or more positive interactions. We need to make more regular deposits into our emotional bank account, and that keeps our relationship in the green. Defensiveness. What is the antidote to defensiveness? That's a tough one. Responsibility. Defensiveness is when we escape our own responsibility by putting all the focus on our partner or the blame on them. Share responsibility. When I see that in sessions with couples, I call it the court. Both partners behave in a way as if they're trying to present all the evidence that the other partner is guilty, a bad person, a person that is harming the relationship, and they are innocent. They both try to convince the judge, in this case the therapist, that the partner is wrong and they are right. The thing is, though, that the more you attack your partner, the more they build a high protective wall against you. However, when you take responsibility for your part of the conflict and how you contributed, this makes your partner feel safer. It's more possible that they will accept their own part of responsibility as well. Taking responsibility for your share prevents the conflict from escalating, and that's already a big win for your relationship. Now, let's go to the fourth toxic behavior and the antidote to that. We're talking about stonewalling, and this is when someone completely withdraws from the conversation, from the discussion, from the conflict, from the relationship. You probably think that they're doing that because they don't care, or because they don't understand, or because they don't have any feelings. The reality, though, is that the exact opposite. The person who chooses to withdraw or to stonewall their partners, they're doing so because they're feeling flooded. In other words, they're feeling emotionally overwhelmed. There's so many things that are happening inside them that they cannot handle them. They choose to shut down, they choose to disengage because they experience a lot of physical turbulence as well. Their heart rate increases, their breathing changes, their stress hormones increase, their fight or flight response is triggered. Moreover, they experience a cognitive diffusion and a cognitive overwhelmness with so many things that they want to say and they don't know where to start from. So in their studies, the Gottmans and their team, they asked the couple to interrupt the discussion during a conflict and to read a magazine for half an hour. Not talk, but just read a magazine. What they noticed when the couple came back together was not only that their heart rates were significantly lower, but their interactions were more positive and more productive. What happened during this break? What happened is that each of the partners soothed themselves at a physiological level. In other words, they calmed down and they allowed their brain to come back to a feeling of safety. So every time that you find yourself in a conflict with your partner and you know that this is the point, that you're not adding anything useful to the discussion, you're just blaming each other and you're just becoming even more flooded and you keep hurting each other. What you should do is suggest taking a break. I know it may seem like you're leaving the conversation, but actually it's going to be helping both of you to calm down and come back together when you are ready to continue that conversation, because now you're not. For the partner who feels that maybe this backfire for the relationship and the partner will not come back to the conversation after the break, make a promise and make it very explicit with your partner. Let's take a break, but then come back in half an hour or in 2 hours, or you define that, and continue our conversation. Make a deal with each other that we will continue that because it's important. Now, you have an alternative for all these toxic behaviors, and instead of using them, you can go back to the healthy behaviors. Remember that. Being in a healthy relationship is not happening out of luck. It's a skill. It's a skill that we learn and we use every single day. It's a skill that the more you practice, the more you become more comfortable in using it. Don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid also to make mistakes. We have never learned about relationships and now we're learning about them. So come back together with your partner, even if you're using a technique and it's not working perfectly for you, and discuss it together with them. You're a team. You're doing that together. So I hope that this was helpful. Take a look at the anti-loneliness blog section, because there you can find even more articles on relationships. And of course, here on the YouTube channel, where you can learn more about attachment styles, healthy relationship patterns, and how to build meaningful connection. Well, until next video, take good care of yourself.